Hello and welcome to a brand new year of Rony's Tuesday Fun Race Extra Large in Live for Speed. The 2022 season kicks off with the XRGT at Westhill East Course. I'm Peter Butcher, and in the Sim Broadcasts commentary box tonight and throughout the year for RTFR XL, it's going to be me, Eoin Harmon, and a new voice for you to listen to this year. It's Miika Särkkinen. Miika, do you want to introduce yourself to the viewers?
Hello, it's me, Miika. I go by the name LGMS. I've been racing quite a while for myself in the Rony's Tuesday Fun Races. I'm going with my team at Fearless in the races, but now I'm joining here for commentary on the XL races.
Yeah,
Let's
so
see how
Miika's
this
going to
goes.
be joining us all year. It's going to go pretty well. We've seen what you can do. We're happy, and hopefully the viewers are too. Eoin, welcome back for XL for another year.
Yeah, it's great to be back with the team here, and Miika did a good job introducing himself, so I'm looking forward to an extra large sampling here. No January subtleties for us today.
Absolutely. We have a packed 12 race season starting off today with the XRG at Westhill East Course, which is a custom configuration using some of the infield, outfield track at Westhill International and Westhill National. And it's a packed season, and we cannot wait to get going with the action tonight. We've already got a lot of cars who have set times in the qualifying session, so we will bring that to you just as soon as we can. Let's have a look at the track for tonight. This track map is an interesting one. It uses the middle part of Westhill's environment, the national part of the circuit, and the top part, the north part of the track, the north part of Westhill International. It's 3.5 kilometres, 2.1 miles. We've had an hour of qualifying, of which there are 5 minutes left, and we have a 44-lap race with a mandatory 10-second pit stop, as always, in RTFR. Changes for this year: there is no Teams Championship. We only have the Drivers' Championship to talk about. And on that subject, Eoin, let's look through the championship standings from last year. It was a really dominant season again from Sidus, but there you can see on the table that Joni Katila for World Class Lions, he was close, but not close enough in the end, Eoin.
Yeah, it's never nice to lose a championship. It might feel like it was a big gap, but it certainly wasn't. The drivers were very competitive throughout the year, and just one or two small errors are just the case where you may gain that position or two on the day. That was the difference maker. And you can see a wide variety of names tried their luck last year. Maybe they were pleased to just get on the board, and others would have maybe felt it could have done better. So this is the perfect opportunity to start afresh.
Yeah, 84 drivers competing in the championship last year. Thank you, Tilo, for putting that together for us. Let's have a look at the track and see what is going on over there and who is leading the timesheets, Eoin and Miika.
Well, what I was looking at a few minutes ago was Rick Hardle going on pole, but now by a matter of 500ths, it's Upsas, who we saw at the start of ordinary Rony's Tuesday Fun Race. He was fantastic at Rockingham, and he's hoping today he can become the first pole sitter in RTFR XL. Narrowly ahead, but you can certainly see the drivers 3rd through 7th even are all extremely close, or 8th actually. That's unbelievably close between a wide variety of drivers, including Vytautas Laguskas, who has done very well so far in RTFR.
Yeah, there's Born to Race Upsas at the top there. He is notoriously good in the XRG. And Rick Cardle, our champion, currently P2, wanting to get that place. He's not very far behind, is he, at all? There's an astonishing number of cars actually trying to qualify for the first 40 grid spots for 2022's XL season. Miika, you're not part of the racing here today, but you normally compete in the RTFR Championship. Tell me, how good is it to see RTFR with packed grids in 2022?
I mean, it's very awesome. In the last year, towards the end of the last year, there was a couple of races that were like really packed, and I didn't actually even qualify for all of them since it was so overloaded. We had even Rony telling us that if you're not going for a new time, you will be kicked from the server because there might be new people joining and we're running out of server slots. So it's really great to have so much variety of like people coming in to the races.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm looking forward to seeing another packed year of racing. We have 40 qualifiers currently. Here's Jari. He's just left the pit lane, which is an odd one here at Westhill East Course. It's kind of suspended above the track, but uses a little bit of a runoff from one of the course car routes here, and kind of goes over a crash fence and back onto the track. But anyway, Jari Katila currently in P16, wanting to improve in the last 2 minutes. He'll manage to get a lap in, maybe two, if he is quick enough to get round. He should be around and across start finish to get one timed lap in, maybe even a second one. Upsas still leads though, Owen, ahead of Rick Cardle by 500ths of a second. It's super tight at the top with a gap back to owner of 0.6.
Indeed, and just to go back to that pit lane, I know a very popular tactic here in XL is to pit as early as possible and run to the end. But if about 4 or 5 different people try that same approach, the pit lane is so narrow at times, like a Hot Wheels track, there'll be no room for 2 people to go side by side, and that will cost them time trying to emerge out of the pits, and they'll probably have to rethink the strategy if someone ahead is going to pit.
Pit Lane Racer is one of the drivers who was frequently involved in last season. Didn't manage to break into the top 30 very often in qualifying. Currently P6, probably hoping to improve himself and his positions in qualifying and the race this season. And good luck to him. He's very persistent, isn't he? So yeah, lots of drivers that we have seen before, and a few new names that are appearing on our Timing Tower today, which is great to see. Ayub currently occupies the top 16. He is on the cusp of that, and he is in the infield section, hoping to put down a better lap than that. Ayub is a dab hand at the XRG, one of the many drivers in Live for Speed who specialise in these GTI cars. This is a GTI car, and obviously we are broadcasting GTI Thursday also this year, 12 rounds of that. And the next round is next Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. So tune in then for FM GTI Thursday for more XRG action. Back to RTFR tonight. Miika, you've got some experience in the XRG. What's this track like for the drivers? Is it tricky, or is it fairly easy to drive?
Yeah, I did some laps around this track, and it was kind of smooth sailing in the end. Some corners, they're kind of tricky, especially like the last chicane. It goes left, right, left, and right, and the last right is much tighter than the first 2 corners, so it's kind of tricky to get the line there. Yeah, other than that, it's just pretty basic stuff. A lot of like flat out and tight brakings.
Yeah, Jari having to not really brake for the chicane. It's not a big braking zone, but it's not easy to get the chicane right in this direction. And he's coming up to the line. The clock has hit 0, so this will be Jari's final time. And as he crosses the line, we will remind the viewers that World Class Lions and indeed Jari Katila are sponsoring the season of RTFR into 2022 as well, continuing their sponsorship from previous years, offering €200 in prize money to drivers in the series. He didn't improve across the line, but it is a solid P20, now P21, because Michael Malik has just displaced him for Jari Katila. All right, we're just waiting to find out who the final car across the line will be, and then we will bring you the results of the qualifying session. We believe it is this man, Fragmaster's Strutter, currently P17 with a 1:45.31 on the board. 1.5 seconds off the lead. Can he improve across the line, Owen?
Here's hoping. Is it? Oh, the hay bales are screwing all over the circuit, and he does improve.
He improves.
Well,
that's quite a good improvement as well.
To celebrate a top 10.
Yeah, P9 overall for him. Let's get a rundown of the full order. Owen, take it away.
And with further ado, pole position has gone to Born to Race's Upsas, swiping it back from Ricardo by that 500th of a second deficit. Top 3, we've got Owner there, good job. And then followed by Fatal, Laguskas, Twin Cam, Unite, Igor, Strutter, and Mandula are in the top 10. We've got Mishu, Spurts, Arska, Lorenzo, Luke, Maciek, Ayub, Donny, 3Jump, and Michael in the top 20. And into the second half of the grid, we've got Järgitila, Dehefmuli, Kossi, Koivunen, Soini, Redbot, Haichiroku, Simjintas, Montemakari, Beppo, Rony himself, Tuchki, Torpedo, Kig, Pitlane Racer, Pedro Bior, MRC have another driver there with Mega. We've got Like, Mazway, and McWare. So congratulations to them making the top 40.
Yeah, let's just check to see whether we have any names on the third page of results. We do. Got Fyodor. Oh, goodness me. That's a name, isn't it? In P41. Tallenberg for Master Race Car in P42. And Gorkem in P43. So 43 qualifiers. Those drivers may make the grid in case one of the drivers who qualified higher doesn't race. Yeah, let's take a look at this combo. This is the second time, I believe, that we have run this track on our channel. The last time was during the TRR Championship. Chris in my ear may be able to confirm that for me. I believe that was the last time we ran this. Yes, but in the other direction. So we haven't run it this way round, gents. We've run it the other way round. In the TRR Championship way back in, or when was it? 2019, 2020? I forget. 2020. There we are. 44 laps with a mandatory 10-second pit stop are coming your way in just a few moments' time. The drivers are going to do their warm-ups, and we will get cracking at 10 past the hour. Don't go anywhere. Hello and welcome back to the 61st Rony's Tuesday Fun Race, the first of 2022. We are at Westhill East Course in the XRG. No mods this week, but yeah, we are going to see mods plenty in the RTFR season throughout the year. Eoin, Miika, we've got an hour of racing here and it's going to be fun.
Certainly will be, Pete and Miika. So this run down to the first corner, it's going to be rather unique. Not very long, not very wide, but it's going to sweep and sweep until perhaps corner number 3. So anything can happen here. So get yourself seated and ready with Paul Sitter, Upsas to the right, and Rick Hartle in second on the left. Just waiting now for those lights. 1, 2, 3, and away. Looks about an even start for the leaders. Rick Hartle will have an inside line coming into turn 2. But he's got to stay side by side. At the moment, Upsas has the advantage. He's going to slot in behind. Owner in third place, Fatal in fourth, also competing. Other cars will try and find an ideal line here as they need to prepare their brakes for the next corners. Not too long. Rick has a good run here, looking behind from Upsas. And here we go. Can everyone keep it composed? We do have one car way behind the others, but I can't tell. Everyone's clean so far. Yeah, so far so good for the drivers. Miika, have you spotted anything?
Yeah, it seems clean. Pretty much unchanged on the positions, what I'm aware.
Yeah, it could turn up to be quite a parade here for the first few laps until the drivers start to settle into it. Of course, with a massive 40-car grid, you're going to get a little bit of drama on the first lap unless you're careful. All of these drivers very experienced in Live for Speed, and I have to say that is the cleanest set of corners I have seen in a while, as Michael Malek almost stunt driver through the bales, Owen.
Yeah, that was a scary moment. He'd be clinging onto his wheel with all his might there, but thankfully he's able to stay pointing in the correct direction. Upsas's lead continues to be marginal, but still pretty good. But this set of corners has boosted Rick's his looming threat quite a lot here. And as they're about to run down to the start finish, it's barely a tenth and a half. I think it can't be any more than that. And there we go. We'll see the updates as they're heading into lap 2. Yeah, 0.2 of a second. Owner is also in good contention as we watch the other drivers pass by. Lovely camera view here, side by side.
Yeah, we've got a load of cars actually diving for the pit lane. This is a very unique pit lane here because it uses one of the kind of course car runoffs, and there's pit stops lining it, and then the pit exit is a little bit interesting. Drivers have to stop, remember, for 10 seconds. So we're going to watch Rony leave the pit lane over this little bridge, which joins just slightly further down from this corner, because obviously if it joined there, it would be joining on the racing line as Rony clouts the barrier and then heads off this ramp just before the entrance to turn 2. There it is. That is the stop.
King is
done.
Just out with that shot, Pete. He actually pitted for 1 second in one box and then moved it to another box to make sure his 10-second mandatory was completed. Rick has made his closest dive so far for position, with Fatal also looking and seeing if he can make a move. Lucas Gas in 5th, don't rule him out either. But
absolutely not.
Nothing to give as we head on board now with the 5th place driver.
Yeah, this is the best chance that anyone's had for a move in the top 5 recently. Putting out the draft there, Ligutskas didn't have much overspeed, but he does have the inside line for the chicane, and still a little bit of contact there because he was not quite past when he made the turn, but he is through for now, and that is the first overtake in the top 5 we have seen this race. Can Fatal come back at him, though? He's going to try and go on the outside around the first corner, and I don't think that's going to work.
Yeah, I don't think you've enough downforce in the XRG. Just wouldn't have that kind of cornering ability. So yeah, just better off just hanging back and maybe going side by side into one of the tighter corners.
This pit exit is a little bit dodgy, isn't it? Because of where it joins the track. It actually extrudes into the racing line. So the drivers are having to avoid it. Maybe it's just our foreshortened view here. But yeah, as we've got another driver coming to the pit lane, we've got 136 in the pits. But let's keep an eye on this lead battle. Upsas, notoriously good in the XRG, leading our reigning champion. Safe pit stops from those guys in the pit lane. And don't expect to see our leaders in the pit lane for quite some time. We've got 44 laps. Some of them might leave it all the way until the end to favour track position. Miika, track position is so important in a race like this where it's difficult to get past your opponents.
Yes, it is. And I'm actually wondering, now that I'm thinking about the track, it's quite short in the end. So I wonder how the backmarkers are going to play into the game later on.
That is a good point. We will see backmarkers, Owen.
Yeah, very well pointed out, Miika. Yeah, it's just the case. Where is the safest place to move over? There's certainly this portion of the track just before braking zone. You could move over, no problem. But apart from that, that's the longest straight on the circuit. And if you're meeting a faster driver, you're going to have to make a quick decision to avoid hampering your race and that of the faster driver.
Absolutely. We switch to Michael Malik, who is on a bit of a run here. He's chasing after Jari Katila. And is he going to try and make a move into turn 1 on this lap? As we've got 2 cars entering the pit lane side by side. I wonder if Chris can find out who those were in the background. Luke and Donny going into the pit lane. There we go. Michael wasn't able to get past on that occasion, but he's hassling the back of Jari here to try and get through. Simjintas in the pits too. So a lot of drivers choosing to make their pit stops early on, boys.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, it just about makes sense. We saw the 2 drivers coming in neck and neck. I believe that's not what you think to do if you have a choice. But yeah, it does make sense. It is a popular strategy to pit as early as possible. And if you can spot anything going on, you could maybe find another of your nearby opponents who goes long. They might get caught with bad tires, or they, maybe have a battle that goes on for too long for their liking, and it just means you can gain the time back on them.
Unite and Fatal using all of the track limits and more as they both go onto the grass on the exit onto the back straight. Unite is hassling the back of the Fragmaster's car. These two are glued together. Mandula is also having a run on Strutter, so the other Fragmaster's car is being hassled. Strutter going defensive here. I think Igor just managed to get past Twin Cam and breaking the fourth wall a little bit. This is the first time, I'm pretty sure, that I've seen Twin Cam's name rendering properly on our timing tower, so there's something.
Huzzah.
That isn't magic, by the way. Chris worked very hard over the holidays to fix that, so thank you, Chris. So yeah, on to lap number 5. We have a car off, actually. Who's that? Is that Strutter taking a very inside line and losing a bunch of positions? A few more cars, actually, in the mix behind. This is Ayub getting a little too close to comfort with Lorenzo. And Lorenzo dropping back to 14th place after that, with Koivunen now behind him. I love the XRG, and so do a lot of the drivers in LFS. It's still one of the most popular cars because of the pack racing that you get. It is not the fastest car, but it doesn't mean that you can't have fun. XRG and pack racing certainly popular among the drivers in LFS, and great to see it in RTFR. I don't remember when the last time we used the XRG is, but it seems to be quite a while. I can't remember the last XRG race. Well, the TBO Challenge, Owen, is with TBOs, so I don't think we would have seen the XRG in that series. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, the drivers are all enjoying themselves out there. Upsas continuing to lead by half a second from Rick.
Yeah, I believe one of the things people like about XRG is because it's quite an easy car to get a handle of, so it's easy to get like very similar times and get some good racing, even though there's wider skill gap, let's say, in another car.
We've just seen Pekka Koivunen getting past Lorenzo. Very clean move to the end of the back straight. And is that Strutter losing another place? I think it is. Strutter still battling hard with Abe, losing out a place and under threat now from Pekka Koivunen. And there's contact as Strutter tries to go into the pit lane. I'm not sure actually whether he was trying to go in, but Koivunen's absolutely nailed the back of him and has spun Very weird incident.
Careful.
But I think Strutter was trying to go in the pit lane and Pekka just didn't see it and ran into the back of him. So a big crash there. Very unusual.
Yeah, it's kind of hard with. It's kind of hard with the pit entry being on the racing line as well. It's very easy to run in the back of someone there.
Yeah,
I saw they were talking about like maybe trying to use like turning signal to let others know that you're going to pit, so that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, Strutter made a pit stop, but it wasn't long enough. So Strutter needs to come into the pit lane again to serve another pit stop. Meanwhile, there is a 3-second gap almost between Owner and our race leaders. So a little bit of a gap starting to spread out now. Rick Cardle really is piling on the pressure on the back of Upsas. Vitalis Lagutskas, meanwhile, he's got past Fatal and he's trying to close up to Owner, who is doing a great job currently in P3. Unite, haven't talked about him much, but he was in a fight a little bit closer to Fatal than he is now, and currently holding on to that P6. But in the background, it is Igor and Twincan going at it again. Chris has just confirmed in our ear that he thinks that the last XRG race in XL was RTFR was May last year. So it's been quite a while.
Yeah, I'd have to think back to that one if I was there or not. I presume I was. We've got a good battle for the top 10, 4 drivers within reasonable reach, maybe even a 5th. Good battle I'm watching is Beppo versus Koivunen versus Kossi. They're within 18th to 20th. They're all bunched up, and any movements from Kossi in particular could prove I think the most vital of this battle. Beppo has good run so far, getting the slide out, avoiding the grass as best he can, and now braking zone. He's got the door open, and that's actually Koivunen trying to slot in for an attack on Kossi. And I think this next corner is going to suit Koivunen better as he tries to regain those positions previously lost by that freak accident.
Yeah, that's what happens when you end up with a car that's supposed to be further up the field falling back. They often end up bunched up with other cars and have to battle their way through, which creates further bunches and drama. We go. Koivunen back up to P19. P19, and trying to get through Kossi now. Sorry, he's got past Beppo. He's got past Kossi, and now he's behind Beppo. This is the problem when we have open comping tracks and we only get updates of position twice a lap. Anyway, there we go. Confirmation.
This is a great run, Pete. If they match each other's braking point, just got to hang on in there. Yeah, that looks a finished move. And now another battle here. We've got Strutter on the battle front against Donny and Torpedo. Oh no, they're going to tap each other. Why? Torpedo is going to try and catch the slide before the gravel trap, and remarkably does so. Good job.
Well, there's a bit of flamboyance if ever we saw it. Like to see cars going sideways and being collected.
If Torpedo hasn't pitted already, it might be worth jumping into the pits to make a bad situation less worse. But no, he's carrying on as much McElroy.
Oh, that looked like a short stop. And that's Miika's teammate, so I'll let Miika talk about that.
Yeah, he's actually my cousin.
Oh, there we are.
Fun fact.
Fun fact. Ding.
Yeah, he's actually a pretty solid driver. He's not quite experienced. He started racing like very late on, but he's a very good learner. And he's faster than me.
Well, there we are. Let's see whether the combined total of those pit stops. That is quite an interesting thing about this track. Drivers can make multiple pit stops in the pit lane. Not sure whether that's allowed, but if they fulfill 10-second stops in a pit box, then I don't see why not. It doesn't matter if it's 2 pit boxes or not. Chris can tell us whether that was 10 seconds combined. And yes, it was 10 seconds combined or over that. Upsas is starting to sweat.
Yeah, this is Ricardo's best opportunity since the opening few laps, everybody. He's been biding his time, to be honest, and why not with the extra laps available. But yeah, we've seen Upsas how well he can command a lead. It's just that difficulty of doing it for 100% of the distance. That's where the ultimate drivers are able to shine. Yeah, Ricciardo certainly the top tier as defending champion. If he can get Upsas out of his groove, then he's definitely got the opportunity to compete for that top spot.
Yeah, Upsas quick over one lap, but Ricciardo proven to be quick over multiple laps. So let's see, can Upsas take the pressure and stay ahead of our champ? Unite, meanwhile, he has dropped back from Fatal, and he drops back even further with that beautiful slide.
Yeah, Twin Cam has an opportunity to look at Igor for a position heading into the back straight. It should give him enough opportunity to slipstream. Good run is within Twin Cam's capabilities here. He's now, I think Igor's put his car very smartly on the middle of the track, so he can then adjust now, knowing he won't be slipstream too much. And a big slide for Twin Cam. Holds it, but Mandula in P9 can see this and respond appropriately. Can he get the race green car up into the reaches of 8th place? Maybe not this time around. As we look behind, even more so, it's Arska versus Spurts. And I think Spurts has done what he needed to do on the start-finish straight, and a better line there for Spurts, needing to avoid the pit exit wall, and he's done so. That gives him a little bit of a gap.
Yeah, a tiny bit of a gap. He also took away the bollards on the inside of the corner as well, for good measure. Touring car stuff in the XRG. Upsas and Ricciardo continue to ebb and flow. The gap is ebbing and flowing, but a gap that is getting closer is Ona and Lagutskas as we switch back to Magic, who is side by side with Strutter. Strutter not quite able to get that move done. Magic has to... in fact, no, yes, Magic managed to get past, so Strutter losing a position. And now coming under pressure from Donny from behind. Donny in that livery that he runs on pretty much every car. Very easy to spot. And obviously the Fragmasters cars, yet again this season, running their new livery, which I am very much a fan of. Some great liveries in RTFRs. There's a car exiting stage left. That's Mishu.
Yes.
That looked like a controller issue because that car is now just retired. That was a straight up hardware failure by the looks of it. And we have a battle for third. Let's see this one. Gutskas on the inside, but that turns into the outside for turn one. But he's got a nose ahead. I don't know whether Owner lifted there to give him the place, but that looked remarkably easy. So Lagutskas has been lining up that move for the beginning of the lap and managed to pull it off as we enter lap 11. And already with a bit of a gap. Lagutskas on a charge, but 5 seconds to the drivers ahead, as you can just see them at the top right of the screen.
Yeah, Lagutskas, if he can put the hammer down this lap, he can definitely get some planning. He can map out a route to victory from there, as long as Owner doesn't get him back. But Sidus are trying to get another driver in the top 5 here with Unite here against Fatal. And it's not going to happen this row of corners, but the start or the back straight is coming up. So this battle's far from over, everybody. Yeah, I think it's just a case of wait your turn, and we look now at pit lane racer heading out of pit lane. Just got to make sure he gets a clean run out of the pits. You have to slow down here. You can see another car's coming. Careful now. Yeah, you can see that was Born to Racer, I believe.
Yeah, that'll be 136 mile per hour going around the outside. And I think we should try and make sure we get Pit Lane Racer on the pit lane cam in every round this season. that he's competing in. Anyway.
Carrying on with the battle for 5th. It's still going to be close, but United's got his nose nearly to the bumper, and he's going to slide at the pit lane, and it's backfired spectacularly. Oh, that's a last.
He's outside
gasp.
track limits. He's in. He made it into the pit lane. Oh, just before the fence. That's going to be a horrible. Oh my goodness me, that's the second time we've seen that happen. He's not repairing the damage, but maybe he'll pull forward into one of the pit boxes. He does have another chance to set that up. Will he try
9.99? Yes, he's
going
to
to have to.
Yeah.
Too short a pit stop, and he hasn't repaired. He's just done it. He's retired. Yeah, I don't blame him. That was a really unfortunate incident. He just messed up the pit entry horrifically, and that would have been a long stop for damage. That car was mangled. Unite is out.
Yeah, it's completely done and dusted for Unite here. He just must have realised at the last moment he wanted to do something, and neither outcome was good. It was just a doom situation. And that's another time in RT4XL that Unite will be kicking himself. He has those kind of unlucky moments, and he'll be badly missed from the race here. Fatal should be handily clear of Twin Cam there. That's about a 4-second gap. So yeah, Fatal can just get on with his day now. No problems for him.
We say this a lot in RTFR and RTFR XL, but the XRG really is a pack racing car, and that is great for a series like RTFR XL and RTFR, where there's drivers of all abilities and all skill levels, and you can always find someone to race. So if you see a pack at the beginning of the race, normally that pack lingers for the entire race, as we see on lap 13, glued to one another, are Spurts and Asker, who have been going at it for quite a while. And I think that's going to go on to the end of the race. Let's see. We have about 30 laps to go after this one. And which one of these two will come out victorious and take the higher place, as Igor is going in the pits. So the first car of our top runners pits from P7. And let's see. Chris will let us know if this pit stop is valid. 9.8 seconds. Igor will have to stop, and he's overrun. He's run past the other pit boxes. He had a chance to stop. Igor has done an invalid pit stop, and if he hasn't realised, we'll get a penalty at the end of the race.
Yeah, I was watching on the track. Miika's points with blue flags has come true for the first time. Gorkum was at the first corner when he had to merge away from our leading pair, and Rick Cardle actually had to control a little bit of a power slide to make sure he avoided Gorkum's car and also the grass. So that's a good piece of driving, but it's given Upsas a little bit more of an advantage compared to what he had just a lap ago. Owner here is on our cameras now. The blue flags will be waving again for the wine-coloured car. So it's about time to get moving. Gorkum, yeah, take your moment, and then just make sure you're out of the way for the lead drivers. And the Goosecast might be getting held a little bit here. Yeah, there we go. There's a move now, so that should be okay. Yeah, I'm okay with that. And here is Sedef Orels the Hamuli against Yari Katila.
I'm going to have a stab that this is another relative of Miika. Am I right?
Yeah, correct. He's my brother, actually.
Fantastic.
Another fun fact, he's very often racing with Yari Katila. He's one of the guys that are pretty similar in speed. So they usually end up together. And Twingham seems to be in the pit lane. He's doing the stop, and seems like it was over 10 seconds to clear off that mandatory pit stop there.
Yeah, such a tricky pit exit. Really difficult.
Yeah.
Quite awkward looking as well.
It was hard.
Yeah, and for speaking about families, I can confirm 100% the Crokins and Harmons are not related whatsoever. So get that one out of the way, everybody. No funny business.
Fun facts today. The Gutscast, he's got past Owner, but he is not getting any closer to Rick Cardle and Upsas, even though those two have had to avoid various cars so far in this race. 5.7 seconds. And it's a long race still to go, 30 laps. Can Lagutskás close that gap down? The answer is probably. Lagutskás is rapid. Doesn't matter what car you put him in. And let's see if anyone can catch those guys up front. It is Lagutskás. What he'll be hoping for is that either one of them messes up the pit stop or they start battling more intensely than they are right now, because there's half a second between them, and that has been the case since lights out about 20 minutes ago.
Seems like Cardle has got up a little that the time he lost with the back marker there. So I think he's having a little bit more speed over the laps. Don't know if it's enough to get a place to go for the overtake.
Burtz is in the pit lane, leaving the top 9, and more importantly, leaving Asker to his own business. So this is interesting. When Asker comes into the pit lane, will he come out ahead of Spurts, which is a move he's been trying to make for 15 laps? Spurts makes a 10.5 second pit stop. Michael Malik in that free candy livery comes in for his stop. 10.08, very nicely timed. 0.08 of a second in the green. Equal fastest pit stop for Michael Malik. He clouts the wall, as we've seen.
Yeah, I think everybody clouts that wall, Pete. I think Michael's definitely put in a lot of practice for the pit stops. That was smooth as butter.
Except the pit exit.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah. Definitely spreading out at the front, and again, Lagutskás dropping back a couple of tenths on that lead battle, even though he doesn't have anybody in front of him to hold him up. Owner is getting caught ever so slightly to Fatal. Just watching cars come through this first, through the pit lane entry, you've got to think that the drivers have got to give an indication, a signal, because it's such a tight entry on the racing line. You've got to give the drivers behind a warning here. It's a bit unusual, but I don't really know of any other place where there could be a pit lane with as good an entry around here than that.
Yeah, it wouldn't be obvious that the drivers, if they must use the signals, I know if it was a different series, there probably will be a rule in place to say drivers must use the indicators to say they're going to pit on this lap. Yeah, we're going to move on to a battle in the midfield. Magic versus Cossi will go side by side across the line, or is Cossi side to pit? That was close. That was really close. Oh, I think that was Downey narrowly avoiding the pitting car. Thankfully, no accident for them.
Cossi will now have to wait patiently. Sorry, Miika, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, he was just even like further away. He wasn't racing him, and he still almost hit him. So it's really like dangerous there.
10.1 second pit stop for Cossi as we have side by side green cars, Redbot versus Torpedo, and Redbot's going to run wide, drop a wheel, and it's going to hit the pit lane. Oh, goodness me!
That's a nasty hit. Takes out all your speed.
Yeah, Cossi rejoins over the yellow line. Doesn't care about the pit entry line and almost slams into Redbot. That would have been an unfortunate incident between those two. Redbot would have not thanked Cossi for that at all. And in fact, I think Cossi is going to... He let Redbot go? No chance. He's going for the overtake. So these two are going to be glued side by side for the infield. That could have been spicy. Thank goodness.
Yeah, that was a real lunge by Cossi. Did everything he could to hold on to position, but he could have, well, no matter what he did, he was going to have less momentum, but I think that swipe may have caused a bit more turbo lag than if he just carried on normally. Oh, sorry, this is not a turbo car, I beg your pardon. Yeah, just must have had the horsepower down for the exit. So, yeah, Redbot will get away now.
While we've been watching all this, my brain's been whirring and trying to think about where else you could have a pit lane. And I want to go on board with Mandula when he gets round to the back straight, because I've had an idea and I think you might enjoy it. as an alternative place for the pit lane on the Westhill East course. It might make the pit exit a bit awkward, but I'm always up for a laugh. Let's see. So as Mandula comes around the next corner, Owen, I reckon it might be entertaining to have the pit lane entry on the off-ramp on the right-hand side.
Goodness me, that's like Buenos Aires. You had to go uphill and into that pit lane, if I recall correctly. I wish I was a bit older to recognise that track a bit more. It came and left just as I was getting into Formula 1. So it was one of the more bizarre pit entries I've ever seen. So that certainly reminds me of that. And me, drivers hoping to hit the brakes very early to avoid getting launched.
The problem is the pit exit might have to be exactly the same pit exit that we already have on this track if that was the pit entry. So you solve one problem, but you don't solve the other one. As Mandula, currently occupying P6, yet to make his pit stop, probably won't make his pit stop till later. Speaking of later, we are approaching halfway in this race, and we still have a lot of cars in the top 10 yet to stop. In fact, all the cars in the top 10 have yet to stop. And I believe the first car who has made their stop is Twin Cam. Back marker traffic for Donny and company. There's a green car moving out of the way. I believe that's Torpedo.
Oh, that's McWare. McWare was actually ahead of Särkkinen, or Gorkin, excuse me, Gorkin. But Gorkin has used the blue flags to his advantage and has overtaken McWare for position.
There we are. Thank you for the correction. Strutter is trying to make progress. He's trying to stay with Donny here and try to improve from his current P20 position in this race as they head into the infield for the 18th time out of 44 this evening. You're watching round one of Rony's Tuesday's Fun Race Extra Large in Live for Speed on Sim Broadcasts, Twitch and YouTube. Thanks for joining us, and let us know in the chat anything you want to say about this race. Who's your money on out of Upsas and Rickardle? Do you reckon Lagutskas can catch up? Right now it's not looking likely. Lagutskas dropping back about a few tenths every lap at the moment. Upsas and Rick glued to each other and pulling away.
Yeah, it's very rare, if at all, that no driver puts in a fantastic performance. There's always one or two, at the very least, that does a brilliant job, and we're seeing it today from the leading pair. Igor is lagging out heavily here, so I'm a bit concerned that could be a day brought to a premature end.
Yeah, not the first time, unfortunately, for Igor, and it does indeed look as though he will time out from the server and leave this race, which is a crying shame. Igor is one of the Road Appraiser drivers from Brazil, who is extremely fast, and that is him out of the race.
That leaves 33 cars still running, 7 retirements. The other OH car of Torpedo against Cossi here. I think Cossi has been battling hard with Torpedo this lap, and I think that's a job done in Cossi's favour.
Yeah, Torpedo was ahead. Torpedo managed to get ahead of Cossi because Cossi left the pits, of course, next to, or rather ahead of Redbot, and then got overtaken swiftly, and then got passed by Torpedo. And now these two are the opposite way round. So Torpedo is a name I don't know, and he's getting stuck in his first RTFR XL race. Good to see. If you would like to get involved in RTFR XL, then you can. As long as you are on the server for the qualifying session, which happens an hour before, we only cover the last 5 or 10 minutes or so of that session. But the server is open, and you can find all the details about RTFR and XL on the Live for Speed forum at lfs.net. Miika, this is your first time commentating on RTFR XL. You've driven in RTFR before. Tell us, which format do you prefer? Do you prefer the sprint format, or do you prefer this longer 1 hour feature?
Well, given my consistency, I probably prefer the normal RDFR. But I mean, I like the XL as well. It has the pit stop and everything. And if it's a great combo, I enjoy driving. Then it's always fun to have a longer race. But yeah, also my speed isn't quite as high, so I'm usually the backmarker there, which is sometimes kind of annoying because it kind of breaks up your like smooth going when you need to just go on the side and give some space to others. But I've enjoyed it a lot.
You prefer the shorter format. I mean, that's fair enough. I enjoy driving in sprint races. I enjoy driving in endurance races. I guess it depends whatever you fancy. Speaking of giving cars room, this is Upsas and Rick Cardle catching up to a back marker. Not quite sure who that is. Who is that? It is Martin McCarry. It is Miika's cousin.
Yes.
There we are. Who needs to get out of the way of the leaders. Right about now, he moves to the inside, which is not going to be ideal for the next corner, because that's where Upsas will want to place his car. Upsas will have to swing to the inside for the next corner, and Rick Cardle
that was scary. I hope he's
get
playing
through,
good.
And that's brought our leaders right back together. So good fun.
Yeah, bump and run. Attempted, or well, out of circumstance it was happening, but yeah, I don't think the lead pair will be too pleased about how that turned out. But they're through it now, and then there are more back markers to come. That will be Pitlane Racer and Torpedo. Yeah, I think Rick is going to maybe try and psych Upsas out. Nothing has deterred him so far, but with another pair of cars to lap, I think the mind games can be put into effect here. And even if that's not the case, then certainly the slipstream is going to boost Rick a fraction of a mile an hour faster there, but not able so far. Let's see if he can make a good run into the start-finish straight.
Even though Upsas and Rick Cardle had to get through a back marker and were slightly
that's
held
indicating, Pete, I beg your pardon, he's indicating, is that a mind game in itself?
That could be a pit lane. It is, and he's got a car ahead of him. Oh, and there's contact. That was Torpedo coming into the pit lane at the same time. Torpedo taking a slightly slower pit entry. And, oh, goodness me, Upsas had to squeeze through. So that wasn't a mind game moment. He's in. And will it be a valid pit stop? Chris will tell us now. Was valid. So that hands the advantage to Rick Cardle. Rick Cardle has track position. Upsas with a less than ideal pit entry, Owen. Goodness me.
Yeah, I'm afraid
how he managed that.
What happened with the Goosecast? Sorry, yeah, Miika, for the interruption there. Yeah, so the drivers first and third responding to the pit action.
Goosecast has a lot of damage on that
it's
car.
actually a good point halfway, so it makes sense in that regard.
What happened to Lagutskas? Miika, did you catch it?
No, I didn't see it.
What has happened to that car? He's got heavy left side damage. I wonder whether he's been in the wall on pit entry or something, because that car does not look good. It looks in better shape than Unites did when he retired from the race after his pit stop, but that is going to hurt Vitalis Lagutskas, who was basically challenging for a podium, trying to catch up to the lead, but was about 8 seconds off when he came in.
Yeah, the left rear shock absorber, I think, is in really bad shape. He's got the tires in peak condition, but if anything goes wrong in some of the faster corners, then I fear the worst for Laguskas's prospects, to be honest.
So Upsas is coming to the pits, what I would say, quite early. Normally, in a 1 hour race, the optimum strategy is to brim your tank and go flat out until the end and come in a couple of laps before the end of the race. Some drivers in cars that refuel slightly slower like to split their race in half and time their pit stop with the fuel load. That doesn't tend to work with the Formula cars because the fuel goes in too quickly, but in the XRG, it's something you can use to time your pit stop so you don't have to worry about it. The disadvantage of that, of course, is that you come out into traffic, and that is difficult when you're challenging for the lead like Upsas. Fortunately, though, he's come out near his teammate, who is unlikely to cause him any grief, Owen. And 3 seconds is Mandula up the road.
Well, actually, Mandula's taken to the pits as well.
Oh, there we are.
The 50% split strategy you discussed, Pete, is a favourite of the drivers in some of them in the top 5 anyway. Lorenzo also pitting. You can just see that DHL car emerging.
Other couriers are available.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Oh, careful with one of the world-class lines there. Yeah, that's fine and dandy. So yeah, I know for sure that beside us there's some of the prime drivers are going along and then making sure they have the track position they need so they can pit, get the 10 seconds in, re-emerge, and not have the traffic, and still hold position as optimally as possible. So I think that's what Rick's going to do. He's going to carry on for another 10 laps and thereabouts, and then pit at that stage.
Let's see what he does. I'd laugh a little bit if he came into the pits. No, he hasn't. The XRG is considered to be a little bit of an art form to drive quickly in Live for Speed, and let's ride on board with Rick Cardle for a lap to see just how he does it. The XRG is a rear-wheel driven car, and it is extremely difficult to drive fast around the tracks in Live for Speed. As you can see here, we have 140 brake horsepower and a small 1.8 litre inline 4 front engine, but it is rear-wheel drive. And as you can see, Rick Cardle has to get the rear of the car out on entry and exit in order to carry speed and momentum. You don't want to get the rear out too much because you will end up losing time, but it is an art form for sure. As he comes up to the back of Cozzy now, and Cozzy will dive out of the way on the brakes, and Rick can get through nice and easily.
Indeed. It's just what Rick can do now. He's perhaps unexpectedly got an opportunity against Upsas to win the race outright. Back marker, I think that's McWare. That is McWare. So after he can move out of the way, I think Rick will have a bit of time on the track. And here's Magic versus Lorenzo, the teammates.
His new team.
Teammates. Not sure what Magic would like to do here. I don't know if he's going to be held up by the car that recently pitted. But Iron Donny is there. He is in his custom livery. Spurts is also ahead, so it'd be interesting to see if Donny can put the spanner in the works for the race green duo. Magic a little bit later on the brakes, but not following the racing line until the second apex. Good exit for Donny. And Spurts just got to make sure he gets through this back straight, and it should be okay.
Yeah, Spurts, if you remember, is in a direct battle with Asker when everything works itself out. The last thing he wants is to be overtaken by the race green posse just outside the top 10. Asker actually just lost a place. No, sorry, Jarek Attila just lost a place to Lagutskas, which must mean he's been in the pits. Or no, he actually lost the place on track by the looks of it. Lagutskas, although his car is a bit battered, is back up to P8 after his stop. And we have 3 Jump in the pit lane, who is making a return to RTFR XL.
Yeah, 3 Jump. I noticed he was very pleased to make the top 40. And
goodness
on this running, as he just hits the inside wall before bouncing on the outside wall, holding on to a position up in the top third. He'd be absolutely thrilled with that. So he's just going to make it to the finish now.
Yeah, he'll lose a few places for his pit lane, but it'll be a top 20 for sure, just ahead of Koivunen. As we return to Yes Motorsports for Tautas Lagutskas with that damaged XRG. Unlike Unite, he's decided to carry on, so he can't think that the damage is that bad. Upsas, though, still with the fastest lap, pitted a long time, we assume, before Rick Cardle. Now, I wanted to talk about this because I mentioned refueling. Fuel in terms of the XRG's overall weight, doesn't add much to the weight, but it will make a difference if Rick Cardle leaves his pit stop very, very late in the race. We're only talking a couple of tenths, but Rick Cardle was only a couple of tenths behind, so expect these two to be extremely close whenever Rick Cardle pops into the pit lane, unless Upsas gets held up behind traffic or has to battle through Fatal and Owner before Rick makes his stop. As one of the back markers, one of the World Class Lions back markers, heavy on the brakes, letting Upsas through. Miika, we've got a battle here. Donny on Magic, take it away.
Okay, they're going side to side. The first corner is gonna go left, then it's gonna be outside. I don't know if it's gonna work out for him. And no, it's going not. I wonder if he can keep the speed and challenge him up to the second turn. Let's see how this works out. Oh yeah, this is the flat out curve here. No. He's having a pretty good speed. It's gonna be a tight braking. I don't know if he's going for it yet. No, seems like he's taking it easy. And whoa, I think he caught up a bit actually here. Oh, but it doesn't really help having two cars racing in front of them out here.
No, and it's incredibly difficult to get past on the infield unless you have enormous overspeed from one of the straights. So Donny needs to make sure that he has a good exit out of the next corner that's coming up. It's almost a hairpin. It's not quite a hairpin, but he needs to hook onto the back of Magic's car and try and get the job done into the chicane. So a weird sort of double apex corner here, and he does get that good exit, Miika, so there could be a move on.
Yeah, this is a long back straight. He's got much more speed, so he's gonna make the move for sure. I would expect. Unless... Oh, it's gonna be so tight. Oh, he's gonna yield. He doesn't want to risk it at all. Yeah, it's kind of tricky to find out like a spot to go and pass here. It's a tricky track for like passing, overtaking.
Yeah, you really have to commit to those moves. You can't think twice. You have to either go for it or not. And Donny had I think 2 attempts to think about that during the back straight, and in the end decided to stick behind. You're not going to make any overtakes if you don't go for the move, Donny. So grow some courage and do a big send for us here in the commentary box. Oh, he's going to go for it here. Maybe he's listening in. I don't know, but that is not the place I would have gone for the move. It has forced Magic off. Maybe if he's feeling brave, he'll go for a send. He's going to not do that. He's going to drive onto the grass instead in sympathy.
I feel like in this track you need to like build up the overtake a little. So you need to think ahead of like a couple of corners and make the decision beforehand, and then just try and execute that. And then if you make a little mistake and can't proceed with it, then you just need to yield and not dive into the corner.
Yeah, if you're weaving around behind or trying to make a move, you're going to distract the person ahead of you and slow you both down. Talking of slowing down, Owner, I think it's safe to say, is being caught by Fatal. The gap less than 2 seconds now, and this is the move for the podium. Remember that Legutskas was here, and so was Upsas. So these two, are fighting for what would be 4th place on the road, but as we said before, we do not know the extent of Legutskas' damage, so potentially Fatal or Owner could end up on the podium here, unless they start battling each other too hard. Yeah, it does look as though Fatal is catching quite quickly, the gap down to just under a second. And we've got a car off, that's Torpedo again on the right-hand side, taking some strange lines, letting back markers through.
Yeah, it's a giant queue, actually, Pete. There's nearly 10 cars having to get through at one time. So Torpedo is just taking the ultra-safe opportunity to move off. Ayub nearly hit number Yari Katila. Oh, no.
That's a
Geometry
horrible
was
pit
all
exit.
wonky there. But he can carry on. No significant threat to his race. He can keep going.
Who was that drawing up alongside, having to take almost avoiding action of Yari as he exited the pit lane? Could have been his teammate Koivunen, actually. was not Koivunen.
It's Simgintas, yes.
There we are. Pit Lane Racer has decided to evacuate the server. Not sure why, but he is out of the race. As Rick Cardle has just set the fastest lap of the race. So he's not hanging around, and that will worry Upsas a bit. Upsas is 25 seconds back, and Rick Cardle has yet to serve his pit stop and is setting fastest laps now. So expect to see Rick Cardle out in front of Upsas if he can continue this pace. The traffic is being very, very polite today. And Torpedo, more than most, he's taking extremely wide lines, so much so that he's hugging the barriers most of the way around the laps when cars go past, as you can see. Magic having a fight with Lorenzo and Donny.
Oh, there looked like door-to-door action. Oh, Donny, back out.
Lorenzo giving him the squeeze.
Yeah, that was basically a rock and a hard place for Donny. Thankfully, he had enough time to avoid a smack on the door. But I don't think he'd be too impressed. He'll want to get Lorenzo side by side again when there are fewer barriers to contend with. Smashing of the trackside bollards. Yeah, that was the word I was looking for. So I think we'll see plenty more action between these two. A little opening that Donny could use with the apex. Yeah.
Donny is not afraid to get his elbows out, and that is translated to the state of the front left of his car now, sporting more bodywork damage than the car ahead of him. But he must be getting frustrated, stuck behind this now. He's been following this pack for a while, and surely he wants to make the move. And will he make the move soon? In fact, I think he's lost a place, hasn't he? Because he was battling with Magic, if I'm not mistaken, a few laps ago. So we're hearing then that Magic managed to get past Lorenzo and Donny wasn't able to follow. So that will explain why Donny is being impatient, trying to get past Lorenzo, because he wants to catch back up to Magic, who is making a move on spurts as we speak. These two going at it just up front. 31 drivers remaining and 15 laps to go in RTFR XL Round 1 of 2022. This is Westhill East Course, a custom configuration in LFS.
Cossie on the brakes. A little too soon. I think he could have waited a little longer for Owner to get close enough and then move off the racing line. But yeah, that was a close one, everybody. Thankfully, no harm done either way.
Yeah, next up is Fatal to get past Cossie. We see in the background Upsas is making some progress. He is dropping back from Rick Cardle ever so slightly, the gap up to 25.14 seconds to the lead, and that is a critical number that has been climbing and climbing ever so slightly as it goes up again there as he crosses the solitary sector time on this lap. Rick Cardle does yet another lap without coming into the pit lane. He has 13 laps to go before he has to come into the pits. He cannot leave it till the last lap of the race. He has to come in on lap 43 at the very latest to serve his 10-second mandatory pit stop. A number of the drivers today have stopped too quickly, have left their first pit box too quickly, and have had to pull up into a second pit box.
There's a double whammy. We can see Lorenzo versus Donny and Spurts versus Magic. They're both going to be neck and neck into the left-hander. That is turn 10. And yes, there's success for Donny. He is through. And Magic ahead of Spurts as well.
Yeah, so just as soon as Donny got past, Magic has made more progress, and you can see that that gap has gone up considerably while Donny's been behind Lorenzo. Will Spurts be done with this? Will Spurts make a return move? Not into turn 1. But will be hooked into the slipstream now, and there might be an opportunity presenting itself at some point around the lap. I think it's safe to say that Spurts is going to come out behind Asker now. The gap is almost 30 seconds on aggregate, so Spurts has certainly been held up with this battle. So advantage to Asker in that particular one. But he's not done with magic, Owen. He's going to have a go.
Oh, so poor unfortunate Bollard's getting another whack, but here we go. A huge opening for Spurts to claw back the position. Yeah, good run here. Double apex. It's not quite opened up just yet. Another fast sweeping bend before breaking zone. Magic is using all of the Astro and even some of the grass to go with it. And Spurts gets the apex correct here. No, he's not going to get it. That's giving Donny the chance.
Donny will have a good chance here. That was a bad exit for Spurts. In fact, a bad entry that created a bad exit. Donny a little bit too far behind, but he is closer than he was. As we have Fatal in the pit lane, he's decided that enough is enough. He's coming in the pits. Oh, a lovely slide to try and get out of the pit lane. That's 10 out of 10 pit exit. That's the best I've seen so far, using a bit of handbrake to get the car rotated. And that's Legutskas. He is out ahead of Legutskas. So for now, Fatal may have just secured himself a podium if he has the momentum. As Legutskas give him a friendly little love tap as he exits the pit lane. So these two back together, and this could get spicy.
Yeah, this is a huge battle for position with the drivers sorting out their pit stops. Legutskas may have been biding his time, waiting for something like this to happen. And now, despite his rear left damage, he's going to go for the massive attack here. If he can get Fatal out of position, he could definitely line him up for the back straight. I can't sense it's going to happen now unless he gets a brilliant bit of grip into the corner and out of it. Yeah, that's as good as I could have asked for from him. That's McWare, who is going to realize the blue flags are coming very soon. Yeah, Legutskas won't have enough of the slipstream to help him get side by side just yet.
No, look, we don't know how much that damage is affecting Legutskas, but right now it doesn't appear to be affecting him too much, as we have a battle with Donny and Spurts. It's finally happening. He's trying to line him up. Magic hasn't got away as much as I would have thought, so if Donny can get past, then we could be game on for a P11 battle at some point. Spurts is going defensive, but Donny thinks, okay, you're going defensive, but not defensive enough. He sends it into the chicane. Nice sideways action. You can see the front tyres working hard, and he's through. That was a great move.
Splendid work there from Donny. I don't know how he's done that, but now maybe his last corner has cost him. Yeah, he's going to have to back out the camber of that turn. It just suited Spurts and where he was placed. So that was an unfortunate one. Yeah, I'm not sure how Miika would feel about how Donny was able to ring the car and it's sliding, but then just the last corner let him down.
Yeah, that was a really late move into the last corner. It seemed like he handled it pretty well, but yeah, of course, he lost a lot of speed there compared to Spurts, and Spurts was able to get back to it. No, there's a little bit of contact, a little bumping there on the tight turn. See how they got it. Oh, we're having another battle going on here. It's tight as well. Simjin is going for the overtake, I guess.
Yeah, Michael Malik trying to get involved as well. 3 cars.
Well, 3 jump is going to carry on with the racing line as normal. Sinjintas is going to tag the apex, and even yeah, that's yeah, unfortunate one for 3 jump. Sinjintas may have just gotten them too far ahead to yield and give the position back. Yeah, everything's happening now in this midfield battle. Yargtilla and 136 miles an hour in camera view as well. There you go. 2 drivers taking the grassy exit there. So yeah, it's really heating up now. The drivers know this is the final furlong for them to compete in. So if they're going to maximize their results, now is the time.
Now is the time indeed, as we see Owner going in the pit lane and out again. Owner rejoining down in... Oh, how far down has he dropped?
behind Laguskas and Fatal anyway.
So yeah, he was on for a podium, we thought, but something has happened there. He is just ahead of. Well, he is just ahead of Twincam. So yeah, he has joined back in P8, which is a lot further down than I would have expected, Owen. Of course, we're still waiting for Rick Cardle to bit, but and Oscar as well. But I don't think those guys are going to come out near Owner. So that is a weird one. I think Owner's pace must have not been there for the last few laps. As we have our race leader in the pit lane, he is stopped in a box. Let's see. Chris will tell us if this one is valid as he leaves pit lane. 10.24 seconds. Where on earth is Upsas? Where are these two going to come out?
Across the line. I think Rick has it made.
Although Rick's
gonna be
exit
close.
was a bit ugly, it's going to be close, and Upsas is going to have a run into turn 2. Here he comes. This is going to be close, actually. Upsas will have the overspeed, and he's going to have to go aggressive, and he's going to have to go aggressive. Rick needs to shut the door, and he hasn't shut the door. He's just gifted the position to Upsas. Upsas running Rick off the road, but Rick had the momentum, even on the grass, and maintains the lead somehow, so that was almost... Well, I didn't expect that outcome. But there we are. They're glued together, but in a different order than the last time we saw them on track, nose to nose.
Yeah, Upsas is going to take off those gloves. He's going to start attacking Rick with everything he's got. He has this one lap that perhaps Rick has to get readjusted to full speed. And it's now or never, really, to be honest. Can he find a way to undercut into the hairpin right? That is turn number 9. That's okay. And this is it, really. This is victory from one way or the other, everybody. Who's going to get it?
Yeah, if the first half of the race is anything to go by, this is going to be action to the end. As Upsas is trying the outside, it doesn't normally work. He's later on the brakes, so he's going to try and force Rick off of his line to try and squeak past as they head onto a new lap. These two really are going to be glued nose to tail, but advantage Rick Cardle, as we have said so many times in the last year. And he's looking to take the first win of RTFR XL this season. But Upsas is certainly throwing the cat amongst the proverbial pigeons as Rick gets a nice entry into turn 1, opening up the gap initially. And he needs to keep doing that, Owen. He has to keep opening those gaps because Upsas is a fierce contender.
That is absolutely correct, yeah. Good run here. Heading into turn 3, but still Rick has the placement spot on. Another opportunity will beckon into the left-hander. It's just really a matter of building the move, getting everything prepared. Now run out of turn 7. And yeah, again, it's going to be a matter of that hairpin corner. Can Upsas get on one side or the other? I think Rick has done another stellar job with the defense. Upsas nowhere else for him to go. And the undercut also thwarted. So can Upsas come up with a different plan? This is his best opportunity. The outside line didn't work. Maybe he can do something else.
Yeah, Rick Cardle, he keeps getting great exits, and he knows exactly where to position the car to defend from Upsas. Upsas has to go for a late lunge to the inside, and Rick is going to push him all the way to the right side. Rick goes out, and that is a move. Rick did not defend that hard enough, and Upsas says, thank you very much. He's back in the lead for now. We've seen positions exchanged again on the exit, but Upsas has got this one wrapped up. So advantage back to Born to Race for the final, 8 or 9 laps of this race. Rick Cardle, he has got a lot of work to do at the end of this race, Owen. This is the hardest he's had to work in RTFR for a long time.
Indeed, yeah. It's just the 1v1 straight fight. Ayub is running long in 3rd place, so he's a non-factor. So it's just... Oh. All right, yeah, so this battle will carry on to the end. It's no one else to interfere. Rick has an inside line briefly before they head downhill. And it's Upsas's turn to use that placement. to put off the opposite driver. And that looks good to me again. Yeah, changing gear. Rick there, mid-corner. Good job. Yeah, it's another opportunity coming up. And with the roles reversed this time, Upsas has good clearance, but he's going to follow the racing line. So he's got to quickly follow that apex. Yeah, I think Rick has done better job this time. And let's see if the lead changes twice in 2 laps.
Yeah, we hope so. Ayub hasn't pitted. He's 10 seconds off the lead, but only because he hasn't pitted. He's flown up into the top positions. I don't believe Asker's pitted either. He is still in that battle with Spurts, we believe. So it is Fatal who will pick up the 3rd position. That explains why Ona is so far down, because Ayub and Asker are yet to stop. Rick wasn't able to make the move, Owen. Miika, what do you make of your first, race in RTFR XL from this side of the camera?
Well, it seems much more exciting this way. Not having always so much action myself on the track. And especially with this, like, these 2 guys on the front, they are having a very good race together. And I bet this is going until the end. They are just going on each other. Now, it seems like Rick Carl has dropped down a bit, but he might still be able to go on. Yeah, there's my teammate Temoli going to the pit.
Yeah, I think, did he have the wrong indicator on? He had the right indicator on and then he turned the other one on, so a little bit of confusion for the car behind, who gave him a friendly or not so friendly honk of the horn. Chris will let us know if that pit stop is valid as we focus back to Rick Cardle. Famuli did a valid pit stop, so all good.
Oh dear, Beppo versus Mottbakari is having a big influence on Fatal versus Laguskas. They're playing bumper cars. Laguskas going to get tagged, and Beppo into a 180 spin. Oh, lads. Oh, no.
What has happened?
Mottbakari and Beppo are fighting for position, but with...
So are Fatal and Laguskas.
Yeah, so they're stuck in their battle, and that's going to be really aggravating for Laguskas. There's nothing he could have done about that. Yeah, that'll have to have a little bit of discussion at the end of the race. An unfortunate coincidence that the drivers arrived with blue flags out, but there was a battle for position.
Yeah, Fatal will breathe a sigh of relief now.
That's one of the worst things when you're backmarker and you get the blue flags, but you're actually fighting someone. And especially if you're defending your position, but you need to let someone go, you just need to count on the car behind to let the others go first, and then immediately react to it yourself, so you don't lose the position yourself.
Yeah, unfortunately on that situation, it is the responsibility of the backmarkers to get out of the way. Equal responsibility for the cars overtaking to not make contact, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. 4 cars into one does not go. We are watching Ona, who is P7, but will move up a couple of places when Ayub and Asker go into the pit lane. And they've got to do that soon, guys, because we're running out of laps. Lap 39 now on 44. Round 1 of RTFR XL 2022 almost over. But it's been a good one. I've massively enjoyed this race, and I'm really excited to see who's going to come out ahead. Will it be Upsas, who took pole? Or will it be Rick Cardle, who has had to work his little legs off all race long?
Yeah, Torpedo has the pair of indicators on, so that will be helpful. So once that is done, there won't be many more cars to lap for the leading drivers, so it can be a straight fight. Any more battles? I'm sure there are some hanging around the place. Yeah, let's check out Donny and Magic. That's a top 10 battle. Magic is going to try and fend off the battle here from Donny. Yeah, he's actually given the inside line up, but the braking. Yeah, he's going to actually make contact.
Yeah, Donny put himself on the inside, which makes it more difficult to make both apexes. And he ran wide into Magic a little bit. Magic gave him the squeeze, and that's given him advantage. And I don't think Donny will be able to draw up again before the next corner. So yeah, Magic will cling on for another lap, but this is a battle that's going to go down to the line. A battle which is less likely to go down to the line and is increasingly so is Rick Cardle versus Upsas. That gap nearly a second now. So Upsas really performing here. Asker has pitted, and he's going to come out of the pit lane now. Where is everybody else? Where is Spurts for Air Attack Racing? Just coming across start-finish, so game, set, and match to Asker in that battle, I think. Yeah, he's going to be out well ahead. You'll just see in the back of shot in a moment, Spurts coming through turn 1. There he goes. And yeah, Asker has done a good job. By pitting later, he has opened up that gap to his main rival in this race, Spurts, who has a couple of cars to get through. Donny has made the move while we were watching that.
Magic has one last salvo here.
Oh!
And he's nearly got it not enough. I don't think it was a little worse for wear. Just the braking had to be spot on. Not quite, but yeah, Magic.
Well, he's done a good job, though. That's what we like to see,
really
aggression.
well.
And he's holding it around the outside. This is tricky. It's tricky in both positions here. You have to have good spatial awareness. This is allowing Spurts to close back up, but a good send from Magic. I like to see that aggressive counter against Donny, who had him fair and square, but Magic just using his superior experience in this case to go for an unusual send, and it worked out, and it's pushed Donny into the clutches of Spurts, who would surely like a top 10 out of this race.
Yeah, it would be a fabulous result for the Air Attack representative there. It would need huge upturn in events to do it, but it's certainly achievable. Let's check out Ayub, our sort of marathon runner of the day, not needing to pit until the very last moment. And yeah, he'll now have the benefit of being able to lap just one more car before a healthy segment of space opens up. So we'll see how he gets on for the remainder of the race. And now traffic is everywhere here in... Yeah, it's 3 Jump versus Michael Malik with 136, and Yari also in contention. Who's going to make what move? 3 Jump blocks the inside line of the first 2 segments, and again for the last one, but now the second battle has joined in. So if Michael gets a bad exit into turn 1 on this new lap for them, it will give either 136 or Yari the opportunity to respond. It looks okay to me. Michael, oh, now he's hit the wall. He has hit the wall. Here comes 136 miles an hour on the outside line. It's a mild enough upward curve, and it's clean as a whistle. Beautiful job from 136 miles an hour.
So, that was spicy, and it's only going to get more spicy because Rick Cardle has done something. He's managed to close down the gap to Upsas a little bit. And it does look as though we are on for fights up and down the field. Everybody's concertinaed together. We have Ayub, who is a bit of an imposter in the top positions here. But it looks like when he comes out of the pit lane eventually, he will drop down somewhere between his teammate Twincam and Mandula, potentially, as we have Michael Malik, Eoin, and Miika going for a move here down the back straight.
Yeah, there's such a almost 3-way battle going on. I really want to see how this last chicane turns out. He's gonna go dive into the inside. He's gonna brake late. Yeah, he's taking at first hand here, and it seems like he's gonna keep that position. That's a really good move.
And there's Rony. He's now in the outside bet to make a top 20. He's been keeping his head down, just getting on with the day. So now we get to see him on camera. It is for a good reason. He can look at Yari Katila, see if there's any opening at all. But yeah, at the moment he's just going to have to perform his hot laps as normal and see what happens. He's going to run onto the grass, so minor distraction, but that'll cost him with the loss of grip. The penultimate lap has begun, and Rick is ready for this final assault to make absolutely sure of a result one way or the other. Ayub takes the pits, so we'll now know our full classification with everyone pitting. Good pit stop from Ayub, a 10.3 second stop. Traffic is coming up here for Upsas and Cardle. Not just yet, so if they can just carry on until that back straight, I think they'll be fine. But Rick knows an overtaking point is coming, and if not, there is a next one immediately following it.
If Rick wants the win, the gloves have to come off at the next corner. There has to be the biggest send Rick's done this race, and it has to come soon because he'll only have one lap at the end, and he has some back markers potentially to help him. That one gets well out of the way as Ayub does in fact join between Twincum and Mandula. I wonder if Mandula can get the run. Let's stick with this battle. Rick Cardle didn't get a good exit, not as good an exit as he would have wanted onto the back straight, and there won't be a move on into the chicane this time round. We have one lap to go for the win. There is also a battle for the final step on the podium between Legutskas and Fatal, and they've got a little bit more traffic that they might have to contend with on this final lap because they've got Kozzy up ahead and Torpedo, who is once again indicating being very, very good to the drivers around him in a very luminescent skin. But look at this.
Nicely played, but that battle for third will carry on, but we have to give the race leaders the priority at the moment. It's all on the line.
Oh my goodness me, who was that sideways in the middle of the road?
In the middle of the road, yes, that was Red Ball out of the race. And Rick Cardle's
Is Rick Cardle saving fuel? I mean, has he miscalculated the fuel?
I think he's been spooked. Just the car in the middle of the road, and then he had to spectate. So, yeah, that may have thrown the outcome in Upsas's column. You can never be sure. Yeah, so a freeze for Red Bot, he says in the chat. So that was just really unfortunate. And Upsas has a huge impetus now to go on and win with about 5 corners to go. But now the third place battle carries on unabated. Is there a slim chance that Guskas can go side by side out of the sweepers?
Yeah, this is his last opportunity to get this move made, really. He doesn't have many opportunities left, of course, only a couple of corners. Upsas is going to come around to take the win, but let's keep an eye on this battle and see if Legutskas goes for a big send onto the back straight. He has to if he wants the lead. Fatal feels the need to go defensive. Legutskas sticks a nose in. They're going to be side by side down this straight. Keep an eye on Fatal. But Upsas comes around the final corner and will take victory ahead of Rick Cardle. That was a fantastic race between those two. Congratulations to Born to Race. First win of the season in XL. Sidus denied the first win of the year. In a moment, we're going to see Fatal and Legutskas come around to finish their race-long fight. Legutskas sporting quite a bit of damage on that car. And it is indeed Fatal for Fragmasters, who will emerge to round off the podium. And Legutskas denied by, well, a tenth of a second in the end. Owner finishes P5. Then it's Twincam in P6. Coming across the line, Zdenek Sagash in the chat said the MVP of the day is Ayub's internet, and I don't disagree with that one, Owen, because he's been quite unlucky recently. Ayub manages to finish P7, Mandula P8, Asker in the end P9, and Spurts will finish all the way down in 12th in the end. Magic and Doni P10 and 11. Owen, Miika, that was a fantastic race, up and down. We had battles aplenty, and that is what the XRG does when we have a massive grid like this.
Certainly, yeah. Go ahead, Miika.
Yeah, there was like everything happening all the race. There was not really a quiet moment there. I love how the top two turned out. Rick Cardle had a bit of a better hand on the pit stop. He gained like 1 second ahead of Opsis when they were just driving. Cardle had some good clean air and not really backmarkers, like taking his time away. So he gained a little bit, but he still Opsis still managed to get the overtake in the end. Yeah, it was enjoyable race to watch, to say the least.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. The final full classification as Upsas makes his way into the pit lane in a cloud of smoke to take his place on victory lane. He won the race in 1 hour and 17 minutes and 20 seconds. He did not take the fastest lap. That honour goes to Rick Cardle, who finished in P2, just 1.2 seconds behind in the end. Fragmaster's Santu Sara finishes in P3, Vitalsas Lagutskas P4, Owner P5, Twincam and Ayub for Born to Race 6 and 7. Then it's Mandula, Oscar, and Magic rounding out the top 10. Iron Donny, he had fights all through the race. He managed to get past Spurts in the end, who finishes P12. Fragmaster's Strutter, Pekka Koivunen for World Class Lines, Race Green's Lorenzo, Luke for Road Appraiser Racing, Zedafar Al Thamuli, Simjintas for Aerotech Racing, 3 Jump, and Master Race Cars Michael round out our top 20. Over to the second page of results. We have in 21st, Born to Races 136 miles per hour, Yari Katilla for World Class Lines in P22, Rony for Race Green, Kozi, Motti Macari, Beppo, Timu Soini, Redbot, Torpedo, and Gorkum round out the top 30. Then we have McVer, and in cars who didn't finish, Pit Lane Racer, Kig, Unite, Mishu, Ittukch, Mazwe, Mega, Hachiroku, and Igor, who unfortunately timed out. What a race, and what a race we had at Westhill East Course. There we have, in the back, Upsas in the victory lane position. And there we are. That is the first round of the 2022 season of Rony's Tuesday Fun Race XL. Done and dusted, boys.
Yeah, and very well done for our newcomer in Miika. Yeah, just a quick point. It's certainly Sidus's monopoly not so strong in 2022 so far. January will be a month to forget for them. They will not be able to respond until February 1st in RTFR, I believe, just regular. So yeah, great job for Upsas getting that win to make the campaign look very, very promising for him.
Yes, join us again in 4 weeks for the 62nd RTFR XL in Live for Speed. As we have a long calendar of RTFR XL races this year. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for joining me, Owen and Miika. I hope you enjoyed your first broadcast, Miika, and we look forward to hearing from you again in 4 weeks' time. Are you driving in RTFR regular, Miika, next time?
Yeah, I will be driving in regularly, and I really enjoy my time here in the commentary box as well. So I will definitely be joining more often into the XL races.
Well, we loved having you. Thank you very much. And thank you, everyone, for watching. If you're not following or subscribed to our channel on Twitch or YouTube, then please consider doing so. We love your support. And as ever, thank you for getting involved in the chat and supporting your favourite driver. Chris McElroy in our ears, providing us with all the updates. Tila Falkenberg for the graphics. Thank you to everyone at the Sim Broadcasts team for putting this production together. It's a great team that we are a part of, and we couldn't do it without you all. So, from all of us here at Sim Broadcasts, have a great rest of your day, and we will see you on the next one. Goodbye.